Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a graphic nature and in graphic detail and may not be suitable for children under 13. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 26. I am Janice Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
All right. Nothing new. No one has made any comments recently, so there's nothing special to report, no shout outs, which is unfortunate. So guys, when you're listening, please reach out to us. Give us some case suggestions. Let us know how you think we're doing. We love to hear from you guys.
Talk to us. We're friendly, I promise.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I'll be friendly on Instagram.
And we definitely want to know what you guys thought of our 25th episode where each one of us presented. We want some feedback. Let us know. I mean, that was so much fun for us that
I absolutely love doing that. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good time. And I'm looking forward to you guys presenting more often. So,
all right.
Heck yeah.
Cool. All right. So tonight's episode. Have you guys ever heard of the app Randonautica?
No, nope. But that sounds very interesting.
Okay, so I had never heard of this app before I found this case. But to be fair, I'm kind of old, so I kind of expected I wouldn't know the app. But it's an app for adventuring.
Okay.
Now, in the App Store, it describes itself as, quote, escaping the matrix by traveling to a completely random location, unquote.
That's creepy.
It's weird. You basically select the type of adventure or whatever it is that you're looking to do, and the app sends you to GPS coordinates. And it's pretty random overall. Yeah, the app states that by sending you to a random location, your senses are heightened and you're paying more attention to your surroundings. So you kind of have this adventure because you're looking for something.
Now, it's giving, I think people still do it. What was that thing that people used to do where they would like
geocaching?
Geocaching. You immediately know what I was talking about. It sounds like that, kind of.
Except the difference is with geocaching, you're looking for like a hidden container that has something in it and you trade things out. This is just you're going there and you're just looking to have an adventure, and you sometimes can pick whatever theme you want. So like you can select like I'm looking for education, or I'm looking for history, or I'm looking for treasure, or whatever it may be. And then supposedly the GPS coordinates come together and they send you to a place. You're looking for this adventure, so you're going to find. So, and there are some really weird examples that I've heard where someone was having trouble making a decision about what college to go to. And I don't know what they had put in for the adventure, but they went there, and somewhere in this place, they found something that had the initials of one of the two colleges that they were looking to go, that they were trying to choose between. And they were like, well, that made up my mind for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's really weird. And it has this kind of interesting reputation because it really is very random. But sometimes people were like, they felt like it was almost set up in a way. So
interesting.
It's a little weird. So we cut to June 19th of 2020. Some teenagers were using the app and they had selected treasure to be their adventure goal, or whatever term they use for goal. The app led them to the coordinates for a place called Alki Lake, which is near Seattle, Washington. The teens arrive and they start live streaming and recording their experience via TikTok when they saw a suitcase on the rocks near the beach. I mean, they're streaming this. They're having a good time with it. And they're like, what the hell? I mean, think about that. Select treasure and there's a suitcase on the beach.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good treasure, I guarantee you.
Well, yeah, something tells me there's something in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it here if they opened it and it was full of money, right?
No, we wouldn't.
Unless that led to, finding a
murder money.
Who did something.
Right. Yeah, like the mafia. So, unsure of what was going on, they approached the suitcase cautiously, recording the entire time. They opened the suitcase using a stick and saw black trash bags inside.
Oh, God.
The black trash bags had a foul, overwhelming odor to them.
That's body parts.
And the teens called the police. Obviously. This is the crazy case of what became known as the TikTok murders.
Oh, okay.
What? I can't believe I've never heard of this.
It's impressive, and it's not that old.
Right.
So, yeah.
And this was peak be on the internet, not in real life.
Right, because this is in the height of COVID too. It's June of
Yeah.
2020. Yeah. So the teens continued to live stream their experience, and it was reported that it took the police hours to arrive on the scene.
Well,
Hours.
that's the police at their finest.
To be
You know how
fair,
much I love their response times in
yeah,
there.
and, yeah, you seem to have like every episode, your opinion of the police goes lower and lower.
They live up to the reputation, though.
I guess they do. So to be fair, we don't know exactly what the teens said when they called. So we don't know how big of an emergency police thought this was. That's the only thing I will say to defend the police on this. But once they did arrive, they opened the bags in the suitcase, and found that they contained human remains. That was pretty obvious.
Shocker.
They began a search of the area, and the police found more black bags and another suitcase, all of which had human remains. In total, there were 2 bodies in all these different bags and suitcases. The following day, the teens posted their video, and it went viral, getting over 30 million views. So the king...
I'm surprised they were allowed to do that.
We'll get into that.
Okay. All right.
So the King County Medical Examiner determined the identity of the victims as Jessica Lewis, 35, and Austin Wenner, 27, both from Burien, Washington, a suburb of Seattle.
Wow.
It seems that Jessica had been shot 7 times.
Holy crud.
That's a lot.
While Austin had only been shot a single time.
Ooh, so he went down real quick.
So there is one report. Out of all the reports I saw, there was one that had it flipped, that had him being shot 7 times, but a majority of the reports said it was Jessica who suffered a lot more shots, getting shot more times than Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find a lot on their lives prior to this, but here's what I could find. Jessica and Austin had been together for 8 years. Jessica was a mother of 4. Now, while she and Austin had been dating for all that time, it seems that not all of her children, if any of them, were Austin's. It's really unclear on that. And basically, that's how little information is out there. Like, Jessica is described as being kind and caring, and she also worked with people with developmental disabilities. Her social media posts consisted of selfies, motivational quotes, and she was very critical of then President Donald Trump.
Sly.
Right? Now, Austin went by the nickname Cash or Cash Money. He called himself, quote, a pistol off asshole, unquote.
Oh, dear.
I don't even know what that means.
To be fair, I can't tell if he meant it that way or if whenever he posted on, auto corrected the word pissed off to pistol off.
That would have been
so many
great.
questions.
It was strange. Like, I was reading it going, what? I don't get it. So all I can come up with is an autocorrect that he never bothered to fix. He probably thought it was funny.
That's ducking crazy.
Ew, that was good.
So in his social media post, he does discuss being a father, overcoming various adversities, and being sober. But again, it's not specific as to whether he's referring to being a stepfather or an actual father to Jessica's children. Now, Austin was 9 years younger than Jessica, but that did not stop him from being a father figure to her children. And there are reports that state that he had a child of his own with someone else before being with Jessica. However, he does have a post on his Facebook page of a Confederate flag back in 2013. So take that for whatever it's worth.
Interesting.
He was described by others, by friends and people that knew him, as a good person. So there is that.
People change.
Yeah. And to be fair, I was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan, and they had the Confederate flag on top of their car. So for me, like, I didn't recognize that as what it really meant as a kid. I just thought it was cool because it was the Dukes of Hazzard. And there was a t-shirt I bought about 12 years ago that was an orange t-shirt. It had the Confederate flag, but instead of stars, it had the Rebel Alliance symbol from Star Wars. and it said "Rebel Scum."
Oh,
Wow.
And I thought it was so funny, I
oh.
bought it. But years later, I was like, I guess I'm just going to get rid of this shirt.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was funny at first, but now I'm like, nah.
It's icky, and I don't like it.
So the families of Jessica and Austin did ask for the video the teens had posted to be taken down, but they were initially told that the videos themselves did not violate the regulations and policies of TikTok, so they did not remove it.
Interesting, because TikTok is so trigger happy about the stuff that they will remove.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure myself. I don't use TikTok, but
I'm not surprised.
yeah.
Come on, Janice, get with the times.
Yeah, I'd rather just watch a compilation of other people's TikTok videos on YouTube. So,
That
but
tracks.
yeah, but I don't get TikTok. But anyway, that's off the point. But apparently at that time, they didn't remove the video. It would be months before it finally did get removed, and it's unclear that if it was taken down by the teens or by TikTok. There was no reports that said this is the group that took it down and why. It just disappeared one day, months later. You can still find the early parts of their video if you search for it, though, which I have watched them. You can see them arriving, you can see them finding the suitcase, and you can see them using the stick to open it and reacting to the smell that came out of it. But that's it. Like there's that time they were waiting for the police, that's not there, so I have no idea how long it took. But apparently they live streamed all of that, and people were complaining in the live stream about how long it was taking the police to get there. But you can't find that. I couldn't find that online, but I really didn't dig too deep.
So. Right. Out of respect for the families.
Yeah, I mean it's horrible enough as it is. So the first people the police looked into were obviously the teens, as they had to make sure that the whole thing had not been staged.
Oh, that would have been completely fucked if it was.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting alibi, right?
Yeah.
But
I found this body. When you actually put it there.
Yeah, we found it and live streamed ourselves finding it. It's kind of brilliant in some ways if you could pull that off.
Right.
That would take a lot.
That is clearly not what happened.
Yeah, it's clearly not what happened. And it was quickly ruled that they were not responsible for Jessica and Austin's death. The next people the police looked into were the people that created the app themselves, because everything did seem very off regarding the entire scenario.
Right.
But that was also quickly ruled out because the people that created the app are nowhere in the area. No one's going there to drop a suitcase with body parts where they sent somebody. So that was also ruled out, but good for the cops for at least looking into it. So now the police go and they look at where Jessica and Austin lived, because now they've just got to start piecing this all together. Legal records show that the couple rented an upstairs bedroom in the home of a 61-year-old man named Michael Dudley. Neighbors reported that they heard arguments from the house and a male voice saying, "Please don't do this. Just let me go." And they also reported that they heard gunshots.
Well, sus.
That's never good.
So the neighbors had called 911 after hearing gunshots. The police arrived, but all the lights were out. And after knocking and no one coming to the door, well, they just went on their way. Where's that carbon monoxide poisoning idea here?
Right.
I am shaking my head so hard right now. It's unbelievable.
So, however, another tenant that lived in this house, and to give you an idea, this is like a normal house, but this guy has converted multiple rooms into bedrooms he can rent out to people. So it's sort of like an Airbnb, but a lot more long term.
Yep. Weird vibes, though.
Yeah. So when this other tenant arrives about an hour after this, all the lights are on, and she enters the house, and she notices that their door is ajar, and she kind of glances in, and she saw what looked like the shape of a human body under a pile of clothes.
Oh, God.
When she asked Dudley what happened, she reported that he said to her, "My gun worked, his didn't."
What? Oh, my God.
Just admitting to it.
Yeah. So it's speculated that Dudley thought they were stealing from him and maybe they weren't paying their rent.
Oh, please.
So detectives got a warrant to look through Dudley's house, and they found bullet holes in their bedroom as well as blood, despite the fact that the room had recently been cleaned, including with bleach, and painted. Yeah, bleach.
To get rid of everything.
Bleach is always, it's become like this sort of like precursor for we need to check this room.
Yep.
Literally.
I'm almost in my head now. I'm like, if not that I would ever do this, but if something like that happened and I had to hide it, I think I would use ammonia instead of bleach, because bleach is like a red flag. And
ammonia is a red flag too, buddy.
But it doesn't smell as bad. It's not as obvious.
Like, yeah, it does smell pretty bad though. Yeah, I don't know.
Any kind of cleaner that sets fire to your nostrils should be a red flag.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never cleaned anything with ammonia, so maybe I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so police also found a gun that matched the type of bullets in the home that was used in the killings. So that same day, they arrested Dudley.
That was a little too easy.
I mean, this case is fairly straightforward overall.
All right, let's see what his poor alibi is.
Dudley had a criminal and violent history dating back into the 90s. He has a history of grand theft auto, possession of drugs, and trafficking.
Yeah, he's a real
trafficking. Yeah, it makes sense why he set up his house where he's renting out rooms.
I'm assuming drug trafficking and not human trafficking.
Wow, bad of me to assume that.
But considering our past few cases, I get where that came from.
That's where my assumptions are coming from.
Any of these guys are capable of any kind of heinous shit.
Yeah, at this point, anything. So an ex of his claimed that he was abusive and even held a gun to her head while assaulting her.
Holy crud.
Oh
my God.
She said that when he was abusing her, she could see the evil in his face, but she also described him as intelligent and well-connected. Now,
how do you... Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Now, for those who don't know, the term well-connected often refers to ties to the mafia, cartels, or other organized criminal organizations. So Dudley had been arrested in 2016 for assault. So he has this history. Now, in 2018, 2 years before the murders, Dudley's own daughter filed a restraining order against him. The document stated that Dudley had assaulted her over a period of 9 years from the age of 10 forward.
Oh, poor thing.
Oh my God, that's insane.
She had been drugged and assaulted and forced to share his bed with him.
That's disgusting. Oh, poor thing. That's so awful.
He kept her silent through fear as he threatened her with a gun if she didn't do or say what he wanted her to say or do.
Oh, poor
now,
thing.
Awful. Are you ready for what may be one of the most fucked up things a court has ever done?
No.
Certainly the worst we've seen so far in this podcast.
What?
Yeah.
We've seen some really fucked up shit. Now I'm scared.
The court denied her restraining order.
What?
Because the charges did not meet the definition of sexual assault, but fell under domestic violence.
What the fuck? I have so many problems with that.
Oh my God. How?
Semantics.
You can't.
Exactly. It shouldn't matter if it's domestic violence or sexual assault. She's asking you to keep this fucker away from her.
Right.
Literally, you should be able to get a restraining order for domestic violence. What the fuck?
It doesn't make sense. And I wonder if their intention was refile this, calling it the right thing and wait, but that doesn't make any sense. That's such bullshit.
Yeah.
That's insane bullshit. Holy fuck.
Oh, that's not okay.
Wow. I'm mad. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I told you. It's one of the most fucked up things we've heard yet on this podcast. That's irresponsible of that court.
Yeah, genuinely. How could they listen to all of that? And
then not say, okay, you need to stay the fuck away from her.
Literally. Ugh, that's maddening.
And now everything that happens from that point on should be on that court system.
100% agree with you. So at some point after, it's alleged that one of Dudley's dogs had gotten into his chicken coop on his property and killed one of his chickens. In front of Austin and Jessica, Dudley beat his dog to death with a hammer.
Holy fuck.
I can't even fathom why they would have. I mean, they must have been stuck financially because I would have gotten the fuck out of that house.
Yeah,
Oh
that is
yeah,
not a
real
safe
quick.
place to be.
Holy crap.
So Dudley's behavior when his tenants were late for rent was also extreme. He would break into their vehicles and put trackers on their cars.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was also known to be threatening, especially with a gun.
Yeah,
He trigger happy.
no one's choosing to live here. They
So
just are in a bad situation, it seems like.
yeah, that's my take on it, especially when you hear this next part.
Oh God.
Oh
You're
god.
So
scaring the shit out of me.
so in 2020, during COVID, when Austin and Jessica were having trouble paying their $1,500 a month rent for
Jesus.
for
For
a
a single
single
room?
room. $1,500 for a
shit.
single room.
Damn, Seattle's rough.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we already know where this went because we know what happened to Austin and Jessica. So
Fuck.
he obviously shot them. Like there's not,
Yeah.
yeah. And then from there, he cut up their bodies and threw away the pieces in a suitcase in the waterways. He was being held on $5 million bail. There is a lot of speculation that he may have had an accomplice, as it seems unlikely that he would have been able to do this on his own, but nothing has ever come of that theory.
Hmm.
Because he's an older guy. So he's got to kill two people, cut up their bodies, and
It's a lot to
move them.
carry. Yeah.
So in 2021, Dudley's lawyers tried to get him to a bail reduction, which would have made it potentially easier for him to be released on bail.
The fuck?
His lawyers argued that he had been held for 6 months while prosecutors were looking for evidence and that he should be allowed release while he awaited his trial.
No. That's
No, he's a danger
irresponsible.
to society. Why would no?
Apparently, the court systems in Washington state suck.
Apparently, my god.
At his bail reduction hearing, a woman named Gina Jaski, Jessica's aunt, made a statement. She said that the medical examiners were able to determine more than one person participated in the disposal of the remains. And as of that time, no one else was being charged. She also brought it to everyone's attention that Dudley's family had attempted to sell his house only 4 months after the murders, but listed the house as a, quote, undisclosed location, unquote, in an obvious attempt to hide what had happened there. She also
Interesting.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's wicked weird.
She also pointed out that there were many people afraid that he might be released because he was well connected. She also voiced her concerns about him potentially being able to intimidate witnesses. So
for sure.
So as a result of that, his bail reduction was denied.
Good.
Now, I know we're not sharing photos here, but we are going to post some photos on Instagram and Facebook. This guy, he looks so jovial in his photos. He almost looks like he could play Santa Claus.
That's not okay.
That's what he looks like. So you would never walk by this guy and even remotely think he was capable of any of this shit.
Ugh.
So even though there were no witnesses to the crime, nor any forensic proof that directly linked him to it, the state did go in and make a really strong case in court. One piece of evidence that was worth noting is that police did find in the bed frame of the victim's room, there was a bullet hole that he had put putty in, filling up the hole, and had painted over it. And that same
idiot.
And that same putty was found on his property. That's kind of one of those, well, here you're hiding something, because his lawyers argued initially that they couldn't prove when the bullet holes in the room, when they were put there or where they came from. Didn't matter if it matched the gun, because we don't know when they could have just been shooting the gun.
Right.
But the fact that he tried to hide a bullet hole in the bed frame, that went a little further.
Yeah.
So while much of the evidence was circumstantial and did not 100% prove anything, the simple truth of it was that if he was not responsible, then all the evidence seemed a little too coincidental.
Right.
Authorities were able to determine that the day before the bag containing their mutilated bodies were discovered on Alki Beach, Dudley had been in that area. Looking at the history of where his cell phone pinged over the past few months prior to that, it showed that he had not gone anywhere near that specific area until the night the bodies were dumped there.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Right? Now, his lawyers argued that he couldn't have done it because he was too old and didn't have the abilities to carry out that crime, which, of course, comes into the argument of the accomplice. But they never looked into that. Mike,
Seriously?
yeah, they never even looked into it.
Wow.
So if he had an accomplice, that person is still out there,
Okay, note to self, if you ever want to commit a crime, you go to Washington.
right? And have an accomplice. Michael Dudley was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder. Do you want to take a guess at how long he got sentenced to?
I'm going to say 6 months.
I was gonna say like at least 20 years.
He was given a total of 560 months in prison, which is roughly 46 years.
Okay, yeah.
all right.
So the rest of his life, pretty much.
Yeah, and since he's already 64, that's a life sentence. But what a
Yep.
weird way to do it. 560 months.
64.
Like,
That's insane.
I-
See, I had no faith in the court system, and I figured that they were going to find some stupid way to reduce his sentence to absolutely nothing. That's why I said 6
No,
months.
I understand that because that was my fear because when I first heard about this case, he was still being held, he was still on trial. So I had to hold off on this one. And it was not that long ago, I think early this year or late last year, that they finally sentenced him. So I was like, oh, good, I can finally cover this case. So yeah. Jessica Lewis's aunt Gina said, quote, "I'm just glad we are safer now that this man is off the streets and not taking advantage of or hurting and preying on people when they're down on their luck." And that is the crazy case of the TikTok murders and the deaths of Jessica Lewis and Austin Wenner.
Wow.
Told you this one was super short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there wasn't a whole lot of background to it. I felt like
and not at all. And what makes this case so interesting is the whole thing with the suitcase and the app.
Yeah, so I guess the question that I've been asking the whole time is, was that the intended treasure? Like, did I mean, it doesn't seem like he would have like posted that on this app as like a treasure for someone to seek.
No,
But
so going back to that app, all it did was say, okay, you want a treasure, and it randomly selected those coordinates, and they go and they're paying so much attention that whatever they could find anything that could be a treasure. So that's how the app works. It's not there's nothing
although
specific
that would
about
have
it.
been really twisted.
oh, okay. I was misunderstanding the point of the app. Yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
been really twisted though, Joyce, if he had been like, "Yeah, come seek out this treasure."
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
like
this is what I'm thinking the whole time, that like it was some sort of weird trap.
no, it's not like geocaching where someone has left something there for you and lists it that way. It's just the app is like, yeah, what do you want to do? Oh, I want a treasure. And then it just literally randomly generates a coordinate, and then you go and you're seeking it out for yourself.
Right.
It's really bizarre. And like I said,
It's
I've
kind of
never done
odd.
it, but absolutely crazy.
And yeah, like I guess this is like a beach that people go to, but I'm like wondering when those bodies would have been discovered.
Well, I looked it up because I do have a screenshot from Google Earth that I'm going to share on the social medias. And it's literally there's a road and there's a spot where you can stop, and there's this little pier, and that's where it was. So it's on a main road. You just get a picture like it's like a beach road. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah.
And he must have just thrown them all in the water and they all washed up there, because there's no other, unless he pulled over on the side of the road, but I don't think that's how he would have done it.
Right.
But it's tough to say because it does sound likely that he had an accomplice. So that's
I
my
can't believe they
take on
didn't
it.
even look for the accomplice. That's crazy.
I just think the police wanted it to all be over. I mean, it's tough to say because there's all, like, in the interviews, everything I read, my research, they talk about how connected he is and how he knows people, but there's no other evidence of that. Like, yeah, he's a little bit of drug trafficking, but there's nothing to suggest that he was, that connected. So I don't know. It's
Right.
weird. And that's it. That's the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah, that was
Super
at
short.
least we didn't take, all the world's resources to figure out what happened here.
Yeah, that's probably the fastest one we've covered where it was like, bam, we got the guy. There's one other I'm going to cover where the police do catch the guy really quickly, but there's so much other stuff happening that it blows that one. Comparatively, this one looks super even smaller because
Oh,
this one
fascinating.
they catch this guy right away, but it's all the other stuff that made it absolutely fascinating. But that one I'm holding off. There's one thing I'm waiting on in terms of like the police investigation before I cover that one. So teaser.
Nice. Okay. All right. I
Ooh,
like it.
fun.
So thank you for joining us for episode 26. I am Janice Dead,
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.